Now, the greatest radio shows of all time.
Suspense.
The Shadow Node.
Washington calling David Harding, counter-spy.
Classic radio theater.
The Great Gildersleeve.
Fibber McGee and Molly.
Dragnet. Gunsmoke.
The Lone Ranger.
Now, step back into a time machine with your host, Wyatt Cox.
Good evening, friends of the Inner Sanctum.
An episode of radio's outstanding theater of thrills, Suspense. John Dehner starring in an episode from September 6th, 1955, and it's entitled Strange for a Killer.
And now, tonight's presentation of radio's outstanding theater of thrills, Suspense. Tonight, we bring you a story of a killer and the family which he held in a night of fear. We call it Strange for a Killer. So now, starring Mr. John Dehner, here is tonight's suspense play, Strange for a Killer.
How's this, Henry?
Oh, swell. Anywhere along here. Thanks, Buck. So you're sure you don't want to stop in for a minute? You haven't seen the kid yet, have you?
Gee, I'd like to, but I have to get home early myself tonight. The wife's got some kind of meeting, and I'll have to take care of my own.
Okay. See you tomorrow.
Yeah. Night, Hank.
Night.
All right. Hold it right there.
Oh, I didn't see you, officer. What's wrong?
You'll have to wait a while. You can't go down that street.
But that's where I live. My wife's waiting for me.
You'll be a little late.
Well, now, wait a minute.
Look, will you keep your voice down and stay back? You'll get hurt if you don't.
Oh, you after someone?
Roy Jaleska.
Jaleska?
That's right.
And he's been living in this neighborhood? Where?
Right across the street, down 3 doors. There's a cop every 10 feet from here to the river. You better go back in that drugstore and wait. Call your wife if you want.
Yeah, I think I'd better. Where'd you say he was?
Across and down 3 doors.
Yeah. Well, we're in the apartment house right next to it. You don't think there'll be any shooting?
Just tell her to stay inside and keep her door locked. She'll be all right.
Oh. Thanks.
Henry!
Hi, Charlie.
Hey, it's that Jaleska guy they're after, you know. Been living in the boarding house right next to you.
Yeah, I know. How long has it been going on?
They've been here almost half hour now.
A half hour? What are they waiting for?
Don't ask me. I got here about 5:30 when the police were just coming in. It only took about 5 minutes to cover the whole block. And a party of 6 or 7 of them went in after them.
And they haven't come out?
No, I've been watching.
Why, I wonder? You haven't heard any shooting, eh?
No.
We ought to hear something by now.
Hey, does seem funny, doesn't it? Unless he got out of his room. He couldn't get far.
Oh. Well, I want to get Jessie on the phone. She'll be wondering why I'm late.
Sure.
Huh. It's funny.
Hello?
What's the matter, honey? I thought you weren't going to answer.
I was looking after Johnny.
Are you okay?
Just getting hungry.
Well, go ahead with this supper. I'm going to be late. Jess, I don't want to scare you, but there's going to be a little trouble next door. Now, I don't want you to leave our apartment.
Yes.
The police are after someone who's been hiding out in the boarding house next to us. Now, the whole block is surrounded, and I won't be able to get home till it's over, and you're not to come out.
Yes.
Now, there's nothing to be afraid of, Jessie.
All right.
You just stay inside. Keep the door locked.
There's no need for that now. Goodbye, dear.
What? Jessie? Hello? Hello? Hey, Charlie.
Yeah?
How high is that boarding house? Is it 3 stories?
Yeah, that's right. Just like your place.
And that alley between them, how wide is it?
It's pretty narrow, I guess. But there's a cop on both ends.
On the roof. Charlie, could anyone make the jump across? Is it too wide for that?
I don't know. Why?
She didn't sound right, Charlie. Like...
Yeah?
Like there was someone with her, Charlie. I tell you, I spoke to her on the phone about 10 minutes ago, and I'm sure there's something wrong up there, Captain.
What makes you sure?
Well, she was afraid of something. I know she was. Something right there in the room with her.
Where do you live? In the boarding house?
No, the apartment house next door on the 3rd floor.
Reader? Yes, sir. Farrell's got some men going to the apartment house next to Gillespie. Stop him.
Yeah.
He's in there with her, isn't he? He's in with my wife.
I don't know, fella. He could be anywhere now.
You didn't find him in his room?
No, he's not in the boarding house.
I knew it. He's with Jesse and my son.
Take it easy, Hayden.
Well, he got across the roof, didn't he? Our apartment is on the top floor. He could get in easy enough.
Maybe.
Look, let me go up there, Captain. Please, let me go up there. No, I want to be with my wife and kid.
I'm sorry, Hayden. If it's true he'll use them as hostages to make us hold our fire, it's better that there are only 2.
What difference does it make?
Look, we're not even sure he's there. You haven't given us any real proof.
It's the only way you can make sure. Look, now... Look, if everything's all right, if he isn't there, I'll call the drugstore and have them tell you so. If he is, I'll let you know somehow. We can think of some kind of signal. You can't stop me anyway. It's my home. My wife that's in danger. I have a right to be there.
I could stop you, mister. I should stop you.
But you won't. I can go?
All right. Listen to me.
Yeah?
You may be wrong about this,
No,
but...
what do you want me to do?
Go straight to your wife. Don't do any investigating on the way. No looking down the alley or around corners. Get in your apartment. Lock the door behind you. He's trapped, Hayden, and he's scared now, and he'll kill you if he thinks you're onto him.
I know it.
If he's not in your place when you get there, call headquarters and ask for Grimes. I'll have him standing by. He'll flash the message to my car.
Yeah.
If he is there, well, there's nothing I can tell you. You'll be on your own. But don't try to signal. Now, if I don't get your call 10 minutes after you go in, we'll know.
Yes, sir.
I can say this, Hayden. If he's there, don't try anything brave. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's about all. Just be careful. We want this man, Hayden. We want him badly. But we don't want anyone hurt getting him. You understand?
I do. Thanks.
Okay, Captain. Farrell's holding up his men, but he wants to know the score. Get over to my car, Reader. Have his men surround the apartment house, block every exit, put someone on the fire escape and on the 1st floor, but no noise. Do it quietly. Okay, Hayden. You can get going.
Yep.
If he's not there, get the call in right away.
Sure. Jesse? Jesse? It's me. Jess! Oh, honey. Honey, is everything okay? Is it?
Come in, Henry.
You sounded funny over the phone. I thought there was something wrong. It's okay, isn't it? Why don't you answer me, Jess?
Henry.
Where? Where?
Get your hands over your head. Get up against the wall. Don't make any noise or I'll kill you.
Listening to Strange for a Killer, tonight's presentation in radio's outstanding theater of thrills, Suspense.
September 6th, 1955, Suspense on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox.
You ever make a change and then think, why didn't I do this years ago? Well, that's how people feel about switching to Medishare for their health care, especially now with inflation the way it is. People are very happy with the savings. Most families save about $500 a month when they switch. It's a huge help when prices are going up so fast in so many other areas. And Medishare's customer satisfaction rate is double that of health insurance. It's just a different experience, and people really like that. Medishare is an alternative to health insurance. It's a community of Christians who share each other's healthcare bills, and it's been going strong for over 25 years. It really is the gold standard, the most trusted name in healthcare sharing. Find out why people love it, find out why they rave about the customer service, and find out how good it feels to save some money right now. They're super easy to talk to. Here's the number, 833-34-BIBLE. That's 833-34-BIBLE, 833-34-BIBLE.
Now on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox, more of Suspense, September 6, 1955.
And now we bring back to our Hollywood soundstage Mr. John Dehner, starring in tonight's production, Strange for a Killer, a tale well calculated to keep you in suspense.
I know what you're thinking, but don't you try it, mister. This is a 45.
I'm not afraid of your gun.
That's because you've never been hit. You're bigger than me, and I know what you're thinking, but don't you try it, I'm warning you. You won't ever know what it means to wish you could die till you get a slug in the stomach.
Henry.
That's all right. I know he means it.
I mean it.
It won't do any good, you know. No matter what happens to us, no matter how long you stay here, they'll get you.
Listen, it, guys, just like me, those blue suits don't make them Superman. They make mistakes like everyone else. They've already made a big one.
How?
They shouldn't have sent you.
My wife didn't sound right when I spoke to her over the phone. I came up to find out why.
Yeah. She gave it away. She's sorry about that.
Jesse.
It's all right, Henry, please. It's all right.
Did he hurt you, Jess?
Never mind that.
She just got out of the hospital.
Would you like to see her go back?
I hope they kill you.
They might. I thought about it. I guess maybe you better start thinking about it, too, because it's going to happen the next time you make a crack like that.
Henry, don't.
I'm going to ask you a couple of questions, and you're going to give me the right answers. The right answers, mister. The first time you get hurt bad.
What do you want to know?
Where were you when you made that phone call?
Drugstore. Across the street.
And your wife don't sound right. Do you think maybe something is wrong?
Yes.
You want to get up here, you want to find out why.
Yes.
What takes you so long?
What?
We don't hear you coming up the stairs till almost 15 minutes after she hangs up. What are you doing all that time, huh?
Oh, no. At first, I wasn't sure she did sound like there was something wrong. It was only after I hung up and got to thinking about it that I started to worry, and then I made up my mind to come up. But that was later.
You don't stop to talk it over with the cops?
Why should I? How could I know it was you in here?
Cops all over the block looking for me, searching every building. Streets probably closed off, and your wife sounds scared over the phone, but she won't say why. Sounds like someone's with her. She don't say who. But you don't think it might be me?
Well, yes. Maybe I began to.
Yeah, but you don't say nothing to the cops, though.
No.
Just come up all by yourself.
Yes.
You sure of that?
Yes, I'd...
Okay.
No, please. Please don't. Leave him alone. Oh, Henry.
It's all right. I'm all right, Jesse.
All right. What's the big plan with you and the cops?
I don't know. I don't know about their plan. I don't know what they're going to do. But they know you're in here.
Don't stop, mister.
I did go to the police when I thought it was you here with my wife. I don't think they believed me at first, but I talked the captain into letting me come anyway. If you weren't here, I was supposed to call him right away.
And if I was?
Nothing. Just wait, and if they didn't hear in 10 minutes, it meant I couldn't call. You were in this room.
You old lady, go get the kid.
No.
Why do you want him? We'll do anything you say. You don't need to touch our kid. You look okay. You don't want to hurt the kid.
Get him, lady.
Henry.
It's all right. I'm sure of it. You haven't got much time, Jaleska. You know it. Killing our baby is something you wouldn't do. You can bring him in, Jesse.
Yeah. If you say so.
You're so sure this is the end of the line for me. And those cops down there, they're so sure. Well, I'm telling you, I got lots of time, and you're going to help me take it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, back up to the wall and peel off that jacket.
What?
Come on, take off the jacket, throw it on the floor.
Sure. Why not? What are you going to do?
I'm not going to do anything. You're going to take it for a while.
What do you mean?
You don't see it, huh? I'm kind of surprised.
Well, I don't see any way out for you, if that's what you mean. They know you're here.
Yeah, they know I'm here. You made sure of that, didn't you? So they're covering every way out. Doors, windows, alleys. What do you suppose would happen if I tried one of them?
I think they'd kill you.
Yeah. I start out that window, and every cop down there comes to make sure I don't finish the trip. Maybe a couple come running up here. That leaves lots of cops down on the bottom of the fire escape and a couple of cops up here in the room. But not many anywhere else, huh? In the alley or in the streets or down near the river. They'll all be watching a guy in the fire escape, won't they? And the guy in the fire escape, he don't need to be me, does he?
No, it won't work. You're crazy to think that'll work.
I gotta take that chance now. You're going out on that window, mister. And you're gonna take your time doing it.
They've seen me. They know what I look like.
They saw a guy in a leather jacket right close up. Now you're a guy in a white shirt 3 stories over the street coming down a fire escape. That makes you a different guy. That makes you Roy Jaleska. A little guy. Huh? Bring him in.
He's asleep. You won't... He's asleep.
What's his name?
Johnny.
Johnny. It's a nice original name. It's a cute little kid, too. I don't guess you're going to put up any arguments, huh, mister?
No. No arguments.
Yeah. I'll be right here with the wife and the kid until I see our little scheme is working, so don't you try no tricks on the way down.
No.
What does he mean? Henry, what's going to happen?
You can read about it in the papers, lady. Now go turn out the light.
The light?
Turn it off. But don't you try nothing, neither one of you. You got your kid in here now, and there's no telling who'd get hit if I had to shoot wild.
Turn it out, Jesse.
Henry,
Come on. Now you. The window. Okay. They're all waiting. Get going.
You can't let him go out there.
Jesse. It's all right. Hold on to Johnny. And wait for me. It'll be all right.
Henry.
I stepped out onto the iron platform. Below in the street, I could feel every eye on me.
Hold up, Jaleska! We see you! Don't take another step!
And then I knew there was a part of the plan he hadn't told me. I jumped back against the wall. But it was already too late. From the window behind me, Jaleska fired down into the police. Their guns flew up automatically, and every one was aimed at me.
There's pain. Pain came from everywhere. There were waves of pain. Voices. Voices I knew.
Henry.
Don't touch him. Don't touch him. Let him alone.
He's losing blood. I've got to get a doctor.
You'll get a doctor, lady.
Well, why don't you go? What are you waiting for? Haven't you done enough? He's been shot. He's hurt, and you just stand there. I thought you wanted to get out. Well, get out! Get out!
Jessie.
Henry, it'll be all right. Don't try to move, darling. You'll be all right.
Is he gone?
Please.
No, mister. No, I ain't gone. A little scheme. Don't look like it's gonna work. It should have. No reason it shouldn't. But they're moving up on the stairs right now.
Oh, don't move, Henry. We'll get a doctor. It'll all be over in a minute.
Yeah, you're glad, huh?
No. No, I'm not glad. It's ugly, all of this. I feel sorry for you.
Don't, lady. I've been running for a long time. I think it's gonna feel good to stop. It's a funny thing when they're after you, when you're running away. You look the same, you act the same as you always did, but it's different on the inside. You're tight, twisted. No matter what you're doing, you can't relax. You can't get a good deep breath.
The conclusion of Suspense, September 6, 1955, along with another yours truly Johnny Dollar episode when Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox continues following these words from your favorite radio station.
Whether you're taking your pets on the road or a walk around the block, you need to be aware of heat stroke. Hi, I am Dr. Jose Arce, immediate past president of the American Veterinary Medical Association. It's important that pets get out and enjoy the warm weather and fresh air, but here are some reminders to help keep your pets safe in the heat. Tune into the day's forecast to see how hot it will be. Limit exercise on hot days or schedule walks earlier or later on the day when it's cooler. If outside, stay on the grass instead of the hot pavement. Make sure your pet has unlimited fresh water and access to shade. Never leave your pet in a closed vehicle, and leave your pet at home in air conditioning when you go out. If you see signs of heat strokes in your pet, such as excessive panting, drooling, unsteadiness, or abnormal gum and tongue color, call your veterinarian or nearest emergency clinic. For more info on summer pet safety, visit avma.org. That's avma.org.
Thanks for tuning in to Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Now the conclusion of Suspense and the Strange for a Killer episode starring John Dehner. This episode from September 6th, 1955.
Yeah, I think I'm glad.
Jaleska! Ryan Jaleska!
Those guys. Gonna do a lot of bragging tomorrow.
We know you're in there. Come out with your hands up, or we're coming in after you.
So, they finally get me.
You killed a man.
Yeah. Yeah. One day you're just a guy, and something happens and you're a killer.
Won't you go now, please?
Sure,
please.
sure, I'll go. Why not? Don't make much difference now, huh? Buddy, listen to me. You know what I mean, don't you? You're just a guy.
Yeah. Put your gun down. Maybe they'll give you a chance.
What chance? I've been waiting for a chance all my life.
Give her the gun. It'll be better.
Look, forget it. Will you get out of the way, lady? I'm going out.
You wouldn't try. Oh, why don't you let me have your gun?
Get back. Get way back.
Jessie?
It's all right, Henry. It's all right.
That's it. Stay there. You'll stay. Just like that.
Oh, Henry.
Okay, son. Hold it right there. Don't come any farther. There are 6 guns on you, Jaleska. You haven't got a chance. Now drop that thing and come down with your hands over your head.
Jessie.
Yes.
Why didn't it work? They shot at me. And then there was at least a half minute when he could have got out that door. Why didn't he? What made him wait?
Oh, don't talk, darling. It's all over now.
No. What happened? Tell me.
When the police fired, he started for the door. But he came back, Henry. He went out into the fire escape and lifted you in the room. Then he started for the door again, but it was too late.
Is he all right?
I don't know. I think so. Will you get a doctor, please?
Well, one's on his way. All right, take it easy, mister. You're going to be okay. Just lie easy.
Yeah. Sure. It's funny.
Huh?
No. It's not funny. Strange. Strange. For a killer.
Suspense, in which Mr. John Dehner starred in tonight's presentation of Strange for a Killer. Next week, tune in again for radio's outstanding theater of thrills, Suspense. Suspense is produced and directed by Anthony Ellis. Tonight's script was written by Robert Essen. The music was composed by René Guéraguin and conducted by Wilbur Hatch. Featured in the cast were Tony Barrett, Eve McVeigh, Jack Crucian, Leonard Weinrib, Charles Seal, and Tom McKee.
From September 6, 1955, Suspense on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Now on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox, Part 4, the 5-part yours truly Johnny Dollar story, The Curse of Kamashek Matter. This episode was originally broadcast on September 6, 1956.
From Hollywood, it's time now for...
Johnny Dollar.
Have you found Donald yet, Mr. Dollar? Have you been... Oh, this is Dorothy Hartman.
Yeah, I know. And no, I haven't found Donald Cronin.
He wasn't at his uncle's place? Johnny, you must find him. Talk to him. Talk him out of making the trip to Egypt.
Dorothy.
If he does, he'll die. His uncle will see to it that he dies.
Look, Dorothy.
You must find him and stop him.
I'm afraid it's a little late for that.
What?
He took off on a direct flight to Egypt early yesterday.
Oh, no.
Has at least a 36-hour start, at least.
Johnny, you must go after him.
On the first plane I can get to Cairo.
Tonight, and every weekday night, Bob Bailey in the transcribed adventures of the man with the action-packed expense account, America's fabulous freelance insurance investigator.
Yours truly, Johnny Dollar. From Special Investigator Johnny Dollar to Inter-Allied Life Insurance Company, Crutchfield Square, Hartford, Connecticut. Assignment, The Curse of Kamashek Matter. Expense account continued. Item 10, taxi, train to New York, and cab to the airport, $9.45. Item 11, round-trip plane fare to Cairo, Egypt, $1,305. I was tired, and the steady drone of the 4 powerful engines lulled me to sleep in no time. I think I might have slept most of the way to Paris, which was to be our first stop, except for hunger pangs and the appropriate ministrations of a very attractive stewardess. Usually on such a long flight, I try to make friends with everybody aboard, just to shorten the trip. And I did this time, except for one man who sat 4 or 5 seats behind me. He was a rather hefty individual, dark-complexioned, about 30, I'd guess, who didn't budge from his seat during the entire flight. And every time I approached him to pass the time of day, he immediately made like he was asleep. So he wanted to be alone. But when I settled down into my seat, next to a lovely petite brunette named Carolyn, who was... Now, that's beside the point, except for purely personal reasons that I'll pursue further when I get back to the States. The point is that in primping a bit and replenishing her lipstick, she held up a small mirrored compact. And reflected in it, I could see that the dark-complexioned man was not only quite wide awake, but watching me every second of the ride. In a rather strange way, too. Concentrated. Like you'd watch a fly you're planning to swat. Then every time I'd turn around, he'd promptly shut his eyes and feign sleep again. Finally, it was early evening, we sat down at Le Bourget, the airport on the outskirts of Paris. Since this was Carolyn's destination, during the short layover, I helped her get her baggage and extracted the promise of a date in New York when she returned in the fall. Yeah, I guess Paris does it to you. Well, anyhow, after she'd piled into a taxi, I wandered around for a bit thinking and decided to reboard the plane, look up the dark, silent passenger, and have it out with him. But apparently I'd waited too long. As I passed a narrow sort of alley beside a baggage shed, he decided to have it out with me.
In here, darling, quick.
Huh? What?
In here, where we won't be seen.
Oh, now, just a minute, fella. Who are you? What do you want?
Just this.
What? You don't... All right, now. What was the big idea, mister? You gonna talk, or do you want some more of this?
All right. All right, I'll talk.
Who put you up to this? Come on.
No, I can't tell you that.
You want to bet? All right, now start talking. I said...
All right, I'll talk. It was Turnbull.
What? Turnbull?
Here. Yeah, that's right. Frederick Turnbull.
Why?
Oh, should I know? I do a lot of strong arm for him.
Go on.
So he pays me good to get you out of the way, so I should ask questions?
Well, maybe he'll have a few to ask you if you ever get back to the States. Now roll over.
Huh? No. Hey.
All right.
Hey, what are you doing? That's my passport.
That's right, mister. That's exactly what it was. When you get back on your feet, you can try to figure out how to go on from here without it.
Listen, you dirty...
Sorry, buddy. I gotta catch a flight. I suppose I should have turned the unfriendly thug over to the French police, but figured he'd have trouble enough lacking a passport to keep him out of my way for a while. The only charges I could make against him would be for assault. Time was of the essence, too, since Donald Cronin actually was 2 days ahead of me, and it was important that I join him at the tomb of Kamashek as soon as possible. At least so I thought, until I entered the main building of the airport again and heard my name being called on the PA system. The information desk showed me where to take a transatlantic phone call. Johnny Dollar.
Dollar, this is Eric Turnbull.
Well.
Thank goodness I was able to reach you during your Paris stopover.
I'm glad you did, Mr. Turnbull, because there are a couple of things I want to talk to you about.
When you return, Mr. Dollar.
What's the matter with right now?
And may I suggest that you take the first plane back here that you can get?
First, I want a little explanation for a beating I just took for... Wait a minute. What did you say?
Come back here and we'll settle our accounts. The case is closed.
What?
Donald is dead.
Where? How?
I just received word from one of the members of the expedition.
In Egypt?
Yes, the curse of Kamashek has been fulfilled.
Or was he murdered?
I'm afraid it was the same mysterious death that's overtaken so many who have violated those old tombs.
Well, I don't believe it. Any more than you believe in that so-called curse the last time I talked to you.
I know. I was wrong. Heaven forgive me for letting the boy go.
Look, Mr. Turnbull, things just don't make sense at all.
Come back, Mr. Dollar, and we'll talk about it here.
Listen to me.
Yes?
Before I decide what I'm going to do, I want to know why you hired a thug to try to put me out of the picture.
What? I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, you don't? Well, he made it plenty plain that he's handled strong-arm jobs for you before.
That's impossible.
Gave me your name as the man who's hired him many times. Frederick Whoa, hold it a minute.
Dollar, I'm very sorry, but I haven't the least...
Maybe I will go back to New York at that.
Mr. Dollar.
It suddenly dawned on me that I must have been slightly befuddled by the partial beating I'd taken earlier. You know, when the thug made his little confession a few minutes before.
I'll talk. It was Turnbull hired me. Frederick Turnbull.
Frederick Turnbull, he'd said, instead of Eric Turnbull. Sure, they sound alike. But a guy who's done a lot of strong-arm jobs, knows the right name of the guy that hired him, that can mean only one thing. Someone had instructed that thug to say he'd been hired by Turnbull. But who? I canceled out the rest of my flight to Cairo, made reservations back to New York, and then while waiting for that plane, ran up item 13, $82 American. On phone calls to whomever I could dig up among the Egyptian government authorities who'd been overseeing the excavation of Kamashek's tomb. What little I learned was pretty much summed up by the British doctor who'd been a member of the expedition.
Very mysterious, Mr. Dollar. You see, because of the superstition about violating the tomb, only 2 of our people even touched any of the bones we found within it.
Yeah?
And incidentally, that is all we found. The tomb had been thoroughly ransacked by thieves, probably centuries ago.
Yeah, but you were saying, Doctor.
Oh, yes. Only 2 touched any of the remains. One was a native carrier, as soon as the bones had been properly sprayed with a preservative.
Uh-huh.
And the other was Donald Cronin, who, for some reason or other, wrapped up the bones and sent them by air to his uncle, Mr. Eric Turnbull in the United States.
Oh? Well, go on.
Well, that's really all, Mr. Dollar. Except, of course, that both of them have died of some strange malady that the authorities have not been able to determine. And that's why the tomb has been officially closed again.
Hey, listen, tell me something. Could the bones have been accessible to anyone before those 2 touched them?
Yes, to anyone in the party. Well, now, don't tell me that you suspect...
Oh, listen, mister, I don't know what I suspect. But I don't believe it was any curse of a long-dead pharaoh that killed those 2 men.
Oh? Even in view of what happened to those who entered the tomb of Tutankhamun for some years ago, and then the tomb of King...
Look, tell me this, will you? Have any of the expedition returned to America?
Well, of course, the authorities have here no reason for holding them.
You haven't answered my question.
No. Well, only the 2 young men that Donald brought along with him.
Who were they?
Carl Fortina.
Well, who's he?
From New York. Like Donald himself, he's an archaeologist.
And the other?
One of his colleagues at the museum in, I believe it's in Stamford.
What's his name?
He's a young osteological expert, son of a curator at the museum, as I recall.
What?
His name is Walter Harkness.
Well, I'll be.
But surely you don't think...
Doctor, you go right ahead and hang those 2 deaths on good old King Kamashek. Me? I'm going after a couple of live suspects. There was plenty of time before the New York plane for a quick look for my heavy-handed pal in the alley where I'd left him. But he'd either crawled away or been picked up by the gendarmes, and I didn't have time for a session with them. Item 14, $150 for some food. Then aboard the plane and we took off. It was a rough case to figure. Actually, of course, the insurance angle was done and over with. It ended with Donald Cronin's death. And 2 people would benefit by his death, both of them number 1 suspects. One, his uncle, Eric Turnbull, who would now take over the $1 million estate. The other, Dorothy Harkness, who would gain a big chunk of life insurance money, along with the museum, of course, that her father... Who hold everything? Her father, Adam Harkness, who opposed her marriage to Donald, who looked on him simply as a source of income for the museum, who... Hold everything is right. There was the son, too, Walter Harkness, who ducked back to the States the minute Donald died. How did he fit into this? Believe me, in spite of all the talk in it, the belief in it, the one thing I was sure had nothing to do with the whole matter was the Curse of Kamashek. Nevertheless, call it hunch or whatever you like, the more I thought about it, the more certain I became that I'd find all the answers in a package that Donald had mailed back to the States. A package containing the bones of Pharaoh Kamashek.
Mr. Dollar.
Hello, Haskins. Mr. Turnbull in?
Yes, and I'm sure he wishes to see you. It's a frightful thing about Master Donald, isn't it, sir?
How does Mr. Turnbull feel about it?
Terribly broken up, sir.
I'll bet.
Oh, but please come in. He's in the library.
Thanks.
He just received a package the poor boy sent to him before he...
Wait, Haskins. Has he opened it yet?
He was examining the contents when the doorbell... Good heavens.
Mr. Turnbull.
He's fallen from his chair, Mr. Dollar. Mr. Dollar, he's... Oh, no.
Yeah, Haskins. He's dead.
Now here's our star to tell you about the final episode of this week's story.
Before I do, please let me thank you for the letters you keep sending us about the program. So many come in every day that it's become quite a chore to answer them, but you know something? I love it. As a matter of fact, your letters are appreciated by all of us who are involved in the production and presentation of the show. Our director, the writers, the various members of our cast, and our excellent technical crew. So please don't stop. Tomorrow, the wind-up. And a sorry example of what the lust for money can sometimes do to nice people. Join us, won't you? Yours truly, Johnny Dollar.
Yours truly, Johnny Dollar, starring Bob Bailey, is transcribed in Hollywood. It is produced and directed by Jack Johnstone, who also wrote this week's story. Be sure to join us tomorrow night, same time and station, for the next exciting episode of Yours truly, Johnny Dollar. Roy Rowan speaking.
Let me echo what Bob Bailey said there. We appreciate hearing from you so very much. And you can do it through Facebook or Twitter or through our webpage, classicradio.stream. You can find our Facebook and Twitter links there as well at classicradio.stream. All righty. Your name, ma'am?
This is Debbie Reynolds. If you've been wondering what you can do to fight communism personally from your own home, there is something you can do. Support Radio Free Europe, the station built and financed by the contributions of the American public to the crusade for freedom. Radio Free Europe is one Cold War operation the communists fear and attack constantly. Support Radio Free Europe. Send your truth dollars to Crusade for Freedom, care of your local postmaster.
You can also fight boring radio by thanking this station and supporting their advertisers. It is their kindness and courtesy that allows us to be with you each and every time we roll around. And if you tell them you want more classic radio theater, well, I'd appreciate it. I don't know if they would, but thank this station, would you please? Also, if you miss a day, you don't have to miss a single show. We produce 21 hours of classic radio theater every week, every one available at our webpage, classicradio.stream. That's classicradio.stream, where you can stream our shows, learn more about classic radio collecting. You can find our social media links. You can contact me there. And if you like what we do, you can buy me a copy. That goes to help us purchase additional classic radio collections, some not easily accessible. That's at classicradio.stream. And by the way, the Buy Me a Coffee link, those of you who listen to us on YouTube, we get nothing for that listening there. So if you want to help us, buy me a coffee at classicradio.stream. Tell all your friends great radio shows are right here at this spot on the dial. Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox on your favorite station.